And oftentimes, what shocks me is just how little effort people are willing to invest in follow-up, in spite of investing lots of time, money, and energy into generating leads, building funnels, and everything else. Welcome back to the List Building Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor Kheifets, and today I'm hosting my good friend, John Weber. Now, today we're going to talk about follow-ups, and John has a belief that almost no one does it right, meaning that almost nobody follows up with their potential customers correctly. And John really took this to a bit of a different level. He approached it more of an like an art than anything else, and really went deep. So today, I'd like to introduce you to the art and science of follow-up, predominantly email follow-up, and how you can maximize your email follow-up conversions if you do it right, if you're willing to invest a little bit of extra effort. So, John, welcome to the List Building Lifestyle.
I appreciate you for having me on. We've talked about this many times. We finally made it happen. And I'm excited because, most businesses, nearly every single one I've talked to, again, they have the basic follow-up structure, but almost none of it is actually done correctly because there's so much more to actually build a relationship with the audience, not just sell them. There's a big difference and there's a lot of depth to it, and I'm happy to go through more of it and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, part of what we do for people is we help them build a list. It's part of our curriculum, part of our, if you will, purpose for existing in the list building lifestyle. And oftentimes, what shocks me is just how little effort people are willing to invest in follow-up, in spite of investing lots of time, money, and energy into generating leads, building funnels, and everything else. It seems like, it's almost like building funnels is now this glorified profession. Of course, thanks to people like Russell Brunson and the guys over at Kajabi and other funnel builders. But the follow-up sort of gets forgotten. People head over to Upwork or Fiverr and ask some dude over in Nigeria to write them a $5 follow-up sequence, thinking that, as long as it's just an email going out, everything is going to be fine. But my experience has been different. In fact, what I've learned in my own journey and serving quite literally thousands of clients is that there are a few elements that can make or break a follow-up. And one of the elements that I've noticed is, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, it could be different for you, but for us, I've noticed that passage of time is actually very important. While some people will convert right away, what I've noticed is that after a certain number of weeks, sometimes months, there's going to be a spike in sales because these people spent enough time on my list, received emails from me every day or every other day, whatever. And only then they sort of finally arrived in a place where they can feel like they can trust me and transact with me, So what are some of the interesting lessons that you learned over the years as far as what makes a legitimately effective follow-up?
So I think the reason why that is and why most businesses see that is because you have people who are basically called they're ready to buy now, ready to buy later, and then some people like we experience who buy from you after being on your email list for 3 years, 5 years. We've had people who are on our list for like 8 years and finally buy from us. And what it means is at some point along building relationship through your follow-up, they found something that actually connected with them. They found something that actually made them relate, or they found a good enough deal, or something hit them from a different perspective that got them to finally go, oh, now I actually have interest, or now I actually trust the guy, or now I actually trust the product or service. And that goes along with, like I was saying earlier, like in all of our follow-ups, say, for example, we're doing an affiliate campaign for Joel, we're doing an affiliate campaign for you, or promoting one of our own product and services. We build out, this is again something that no one does. Everyone's shocked when I say it. We build out, like I told you, like 8 or 9 or 10 different sales pages that we send in that follow-up. Because think about it like this. And this is why a lot of people have either from their ads and lead generation, a lot of people have people convert right away, some, and then none later because their follow-up isn't as good. The 10th time versus the 15th time versus the 20th time versus the 25th time, I give you the same sales page every single time. Your opinion most likely isn't going to change. Yes, the copy may alter it some or give you a different story, but you're hitting the same sales page. I've seen this message again and again and again. So what we do, like I said, is we build out 8, for example, if we want a really good campaign, 8 different sales pages. One is the general optimized high conversion rate sales page everyone uses. Then we build out 2 to 3 that are emotion based entirely. So one will be entirely focused on storytelling of the product, or storytelling of how it's created, or storytelling about your journey with it. Another one will be just testimonial social proof based. Another one will be simply just a how-to guide walkthrough of how to use it. We'll do that across the spectrum of what I call entertaining, enticing, and educating follow-up. By using those 3 things, you relate both logically. It goes back to like the fundamentals of trying to convince and persuade people. You want to relate to them logically and emotionally. And most businesses don't do that because, like I said, your one sales page or sales process, you bring them through, you email them 800 times and send them to that same page over and over again. You're like, my conversions are okay or decent. But imagine if you actually gave them different perspectives, different real focuses to read and see and view. It changes conversion drastically.
We came up with this concept of angles where, building up to the launch date or building up to the release of the product, I would have multiple angles, usually 3, because
right.
I'm not an obsessed freak like you. I mean, 3 is enough and plenty.
3 is good.
Of work.
That's better than most.
Yeah, and really, it was basically 3 landing pages where the only thing that was different, honestly, was just the headline, because it's kind of like you said, it hits them from a different perspective, right?
Right.
I call it angle. So, if we were promoting a product, let's say it's a software, let's say it's you know what? Let's take this phone for example. Let's say we're promoting this phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is an iPhone, and therefore there's several different angles we can use to promote it, right? One angle that comes to mind is, look, you want to be one of the cool kids.
Right.
You got to get the iPhone, and you can't put a case on it because apparently that's a big flex. Like my daughter, one time she walked up to me, she's like, "Dad, I noticed you're not putting a case on your phone." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, that's what rich people do."
I'm like, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So one angle is you want to be one of the cool kids, get an iPhone. Another angle could be, the camera. The camera is so good, or it has like the anti-shaking thing, where it's like even if you've got Parkinson's and your hand is really shaking when you film, it's going to be smooth. So this is what we talk about when we talk about angles. And, you start hitting people with different angles.